Fragments of Silicon, behind which you can watch the world burn.
All right, welcome formally to season 17 of Fragments of Silicon. As always, this is the first primary broadcast of the season, but we've already recorded our usual reviews, and we also did a multiplayer episode last Friday, and that's not the end of things. That's just our beginning. Anyway, so let's get to the news. Petty, why don't you start us off because you have important updates.
Alright, well, something happened while we were on break. Is back in April, I fell on my knee again and was going to see the doctor about that and had, x-rays, MRIs, all that kind of stuff. And then they sent me off to, orthopedics, like a couple weeks ago, or like a little over a week ago, last I saw my doctor, and then Friday, the orthopedics office. This is the same dude who did my knee like 2 or 3 years ago. Called and wanted to see me in today. So that was not very expected, seeing how generally, going in to see a specialist, getting scheduled less than 2 weeks out, usually is not a very good sign. So I saw the orthopedic surgeon today. Right now they want to do physical therapy to see about strengthening my quad and see if that will pull my kneecap back into place where it should be, so it's not causing all this pain.
Mm-hmm.
And if that
Kneecaps being in the right place is usually good.
mm-hmm. And if that doesn't work, then they're going to try this like gel pain medication type injection.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third course of action is another knee surgery, because there's a possibility that when the cartilage, I guess, set in around the graft, there was too much infill and it's not sitting correctly.
That's not usually good.
So yeah, luckily, even the surgeon said it would be a relatively minor procedure. It would probably be like a week or two off of it, if anything.
Okay, so I probably don't need to try to worry about having to run the entire show for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a big relief on all of us, including Twilight, because I did have some communications about him returning in Betty's stead.
Mm-hmm.
He's still constrained by his work schedule and apparently some family issues as well. So
yeah,
thankfully the course is set for the time being.
And we say the physical therapy doesn't help, we can always discuss about if we can just do the surgery closer to when we usually do our end of year breaks. So worst case, extra week of break.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a bridge we can look at crossing if we need to.
Yeah. I think we did that when you actually got the knee surgery or something.
Yeah.
Like the week of because it was, we just needed time to switch over to the alternate systems.
Yeah.
But yes, thankfully it was not. We're calling you in because we need to take your knee off next week.
Yeah. Which, he did say that looking at the MRI, the graft did adhere at least quote unquote correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little more of relief. So if I end up falling again, I don't have to worry about, oh shit, did I just shatter, whatever's holding my knee graft together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would mean I'd need to get a knee replacement, and that's not fun at 30 years old.
Like, yes.
Because yeah, this is supposed to at least try and hold for another 15, 20 years till I'm, quote unquote old enough for a knee replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. Tomorrow I'm probably gonna call the hospital's physical therapy department and see if we can find an option here in town where I live, because with my mom doing work conditioning because of her fall, she's in like 4 hours of therapy 3 times a week. So having
That's not a small amount of therapy.
so her having to take me to the big city, which is over an hour away, for therapy isn't really, a decent option.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to call and get that sorted out tomorrow. As far as, like, less terrible news goes, I finished Xenoblade Chronicles, at least the main game. I'm working on the, what's it, Futures Connected DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And then, over the
Have you
break,
played 2?
uh, over the break, I did get 2 for like $20 at the
Because
local game
I'm a
store.
little bit unclear about whether you're supposed to play Future Connected after you've played 2.
Ask Mac.
Um,
I think it references 2. I mean, obviously you can't play all of them first, but I
yeah,
think it references some things in 2.
I do. The only thing I really know is apparently 1 and 2 are happening at the exact same time in parallel timelines, but that's about all I know.
Something like that.
Um, so yeah, that's been interesting. I did beat my first playthrough of Digimon Survive. Uh, Once I get through Future Connected, I may work on my New Game Plus playthrough of Survive, since that's on the review docket for this season.
Which one did you do?
Uh,
Which route?
I think I just got the neutral ending.
There is no new. Well, there is no neutral, but there are. It's harmony, morality, or rage. I guess harmony is kind of neutral, but
I
it's not a very neutral.
I guess I got morality since they gave me Omnimon.
Yeah,
Look, and let,
I think you only get War Greymon and Omegamon in morality. It's not scaled by good or bad. It's scaled by it's like Shin Megami Tensei
Yeah.
rules.
yeah.
But,
I mean, look, video games generally don't do that kind of morality.
mm,
Well,
Look,
you'd
I'm
have
not saying it's a fully baked complex morality system. I'm just saying a significant amount of the gameplay is visual novels where you get choices between dialogue options that might increase your alignment to morality, rage, or harmony, and it depends on, and it makes a difference into what your thing evolves into.
also, what story beats happen?
Yeah, and then after a certain point, you get locked into a route which affects the story a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But yeah, Outside of that, not a whole lot's really been going on. So I guess next.
Well, Galax, that'd be you.
Golix has a little bit of a headache today because it rained earlier and I think the weather is still low pressure or whatever. But anyway, I have been holding down the fort for a bit because my parents are on their vacation for now. I took some time off from work and I'm taking some time off after this coming weekend. So we'll see how that goes. I've been managing to maintain my schedule more or less and gotten most of the things that I wanted to get done, but not everything, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Most of my video game time lately has been Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I have just started Digimon Survive a bit because, again, we are, as stated, doing that for a review. So it'll be better if I've actually played it instead of just buying it and listening to other people who have played it.
Right.
Because I sometimes end up not playing games that I buy when I can't decide which order to do things in. Let's see. We've had a couple of weeks in a row on the Macross with Mac on the weekends, and that's been going pretty well, even though the friggin' scrolling introduction text is friggin' impossible to Google Lens, and it goes too fast for me to apply my own rudimentary kanji abilities to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. But at least we've had it a couple of times in a row. Hopefully things continue to go well enough with Mac that we can continue to do that on a relatively regular basis. And I think that's most of what's been occupying my brain lately. I'm still trying to, for Digimon card game, there are a couple of decks I want to try to look into buying some stuff to try to actually build, but it's hard to get my friends to arrange time with my friends where I can play with them on the tabletop simulator thing where I have assembled the decks that I want to try. One of them is I want to try a Beelzebub deck, but I want to play with it enough to see if it feels right because I like the idea of it. But and that one I definitely need to try first because some of the cards for it are very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like the BT2 Beelzebub, which is the one that can evolve directly from Impmon, which is kind of important sometimes. Is like $40, I think I saw on TCG Player.
Something like that. Yeah, it's not cheap.
And that's the cheaper one. That's the non-alt art.
Yeah, the alt art is
like it was like 65. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if I'm gonna look into that deck at all, I want to be very sure before I start spending ludicrous amounts of money on it.
Mm-hmm.
I did get to try it out once with my friend this past. No, it was on Monday. And it wasn't too bad, but I actually think I need to. I had a lot of it's tricky to balance between throwing stuff in the trash and retrieving stuff because you don't want to throw away stuff that you can't, that isn't the stuff you want to get back too much. But I think I might need to increase the amount of stuff that I throw away because there are a few things in that deck that key off of having 10 cards or more in the trash, and I actually had a little bit of trouble getting that one time. So we'll see how it goes.
All right.
That's all I got.
It's quite a lot.
Sorry.
But it's fine. We've been off for a few weeks, so that was expected. Anyway, I guess it's my go. Let's see. I suppose like this week has been more defined about what hasn't happened or what I canceled out than what has transpired because I was supposed to have my CT scan the other day, but I canceled it because the neck mass is almost gone. Like it's still there a bit, but it's clearly not a thing that's life threatening or anything like that, or like even visible all that, if at all.
Mm.
So didn't really need to spend a whole bunch of time and or money to do this thing, and I canceled out the ENT specialist. Like, so all of that's taken care of. I did over the break have blood work done. That was
Mhm.
not fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Getting jabbed with a needle, especially in one of the more vulnerable part of your arm, is never fun. Like, look, if I have to take a needle, I prefer how they do it with the shots, where they jab your upper arm. It's like where they
Mm-hmm.
jab, you know, the defense part of your arms
Mm-hmm.
versus,
Yeah, but some things have to go into blood and some
I
things have to go into meat.
I know why they do it. I'm just saying from a comfort standpoint, you know, my arm doesn't feel weird all day after the stabbing of the upper arm, because that's a place that's expected to take a blow if you get stabbed with a metal object. you know it's more, this is how the human body works. Um anyway, on that note, tomorrow I go into my primary care to hopefully get the results back. Like, it's been 2 weeks, so I'm assuming that they got it. Like, I know I've never actually had blood work done before, but this is the kind of thing you do in your 40s. Like,
Do you not have some sort of internet thing where your medical stuff goes?
internet thing. Um,
We have a thing called MyChart that the doctor pretty much automatically signs you up for, and you can look at results of your labs and stuff on it. It's
no,
okay if you don't.
like,
I was just curious.
I'm like, this lab never directed me to any sort of thing like that.
Mm.
First time I ever used this place. So,
It would be
but
it would be with your doctor.
no, like, no, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like, but you know, and if I'm recalling correctly, it was for like a blood cell test, lipid test, and the fancy way of saying a diabetes test. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all fairly standard stuff. I mean, last time I was there, they said I was suffering from hypertension, so I believe this is related to that. Like, like, I don't think I have diabetes, and if I'm
Mm.
recalling correctly, a blood test isn't like would show signs of that, but
It's a blood. The blood sugar test can show signs of pre-diabetes,
yeah, it's
which will
more,
let them know if you might it basically if it shows signs that you might develop diabetes. There are some things they can do to head it off at the pass and keep you from actually developing it, because diabetes can be pretty serious.
yes. I'm just saying, like, um, I do recall reading that, like the actual like diabetes test is a urine test. And I remember my father having to do that near the end of his life. But like I said, you know, primary concern right now is more the high blood pressure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I find out tomorrow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, and hopefully everything goes fine. Like, uh, you know, I won't say I don't have any anxiety over it, but that's because I suffer from anxiety, and that might be the actual underlying cause here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anyway, I think that's it for my news, and therefore we shall roll along to, well, we got another Let's Play session because, booking, I've mentioned this before, but sometimes when you book shows, guests have to cancel out for one reason or another. I mean, I think we've had it all the way up to the broadcast of the show. Hell, we've had the ultra rare guest where they were late but showed up at like the end of the program.
Mm-hmm.
That was a odd one. Anyway, yeah. In this case, the guest is delayed a few weeks. We'll see if. I mean, they should be off of vacation. It turns out they were doing a family vacation, which is why they were slow in getting back. Like, anyway, so we got Heaven's Vault here, returning once again. So let us get into it.
Oh, right, we were dealing with the barkeep.
Mm. Let's see. I think it was owned by the emperors once.
What does that word mean?
Alrighty. Ooh, so where do we need to go?
I guess we could sip the drink.
And stroked.
Hmm?
Probably not the best idea.
No, please.
Yeah, we have somewhere to be.
Uh-huh.
Don't know exactly where, but it's somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright. No, I think we still wanted to look around some more.
Yeah. I mean, this was like the. Hang on, we got more dialogue. Don't hassle me. Shut up, robot.
Oh, yeah, we were looking to see if there were any artifacts around here.
Yeah. Because it was strongly implied that there were artifacts.
So, do you want me to go back to the slums?
Yeah. We only went to the bar. Let us see if there is anything else.
I guess they're just popping us between the bar and the hub area. They don't really let us explore the
There's
slums.
also the other. There's also the other direction, which we can explore when we get back.
Mm. Okay, huh. Oh. I did not see where that was taking me. I guess it just went around and yeah.
All right. So I guess there's nothing else down there.
Is there anything else on our timeline, or?
Well, I suggest we go straight ahead. not to the ship, but look around this area.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we were there before and no one liked us, but we could always try it.
Because I think I remember there was something in this area. Like on the top of that terrace.
Yeah, one thing I'm not a big fan of is it's hard to really tell where you can walk in some of these areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's one of these characters that's defeated by inches.
Yes.
She's not very athletic.
Screw the
But I'm
chest
I'm
high
pretty sure she's.
walls.
They're not even chest high walls. That is a grass that goes up to her ankles.
Shin high walls, oh no. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
All right, so I think we've thoroughly tapped this place. So I believe there was another choice. So we are not completely out of leads.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Random person talking to me?
And random person is indeed random.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's some real NPC, basic NPC dialogue.
So where did you want to go?
Let us get off this planet.
Alright.
I think we are done here for the time being.
Leave the moon.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. I'm guessing put her through.
Why not? It's like we don't have anywhere else to be.
I'm guessing 2 or 3.
Yeah, working. You want me to come?
Well, I guess we have a destination for today.
Yep. Again. All right, let's back to the university.
Yep.
Oh. Now we should be able to fast travel because this is where we started.
Unless they have exposition for us.
Indeed.
There it is. Pass control to 6.
It's like we've seen this route, so and the river of clouds isn't as interesting as that would entail.
Yeah.
If we miss it, we miss it. Oh, you person whose name I've forgotten. Ah, Huang. Why is she waiting for me?
This is getting cult-like.
There's nothing wrong with my soul, and she's the fucking dean. The dean, like not, I don't know, the head priest, or maybe she is, and there's some religiosity that we haven't been made.
No, this seems to be a pretty religious society.
Try not to rust.
Try not to rust.
Speaking of cults,
Yeah, that's the one I hit.
I do. It's like having a conversation with my mother about religion. I'm sure you can relate, Petty. Look, the inky void of blackness sounds preferable to, actual hell. There's a lot of different people.
In what way?
You should have been.
I see you're enjoying making her particularly.
Well, I think
acerbic.
we've established that we don't like each other. I never knew my mother. Anyone as good as the other, I guess.
Mm.
I would assume sand. Question.
I think there wasn't a lot of time for that one.
Yeah, there wasn't.
And of course, the words are weird and old, and it's a hymn. This ritual has that going for it. I find many of these to be tedious.
This would be a fun time for the dude to pop up. Because
Mm.
we didn't find
We
a
didn't
body.
find a body.
Yeah. So it would
What?
be a very fun time for him to pop up.
Yeah. We're clearly not dealing with the normal rules of fiction where if you don't find the body, the person's still alive.
Mm.
Even if they
First
fall off a
funeral.
cliff or something.
I'd say my first funeral, but
Sure, why not? Alrighty, so... Oh. If you want to. I don't want to. Bye. Long walk is long. Oh, and then suddenly 6 is here.
realistically, it would be even longer.
Is this where we hit her in the back there with a candlestick?
Probably. Look, am I fired or not? It was the least I could do. Literally the least.
I mean, you could have not gone.
I'm friends with a robot.
Are you finished? Like, does she seem like the kind of person who has friends?
Not really.
Seriously, I could just grab that statue and ping her in the back of the head. Just dump her in the hole with the other guy.
Alright. So I guess we talk to her again. Make sure to talk to her again.
Oh.
Because I guess we are walking. Yes. Let's get
Oh, let's leave. Alright.
alright. In fact, we should probably wrap this up here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's what, 10:15?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of post-show to talk about?
I want to make sure we have time.
Yeah, let me at least get to the ship and make sure there isn't an event of some kind when we get there. Sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going the right way to the ship? Yes. And then we can go to the pre-Imperial area next time.
Yep.
Aboard the Nightingale. Alrighty. Alright, doesn't look like there's any event here, so...
All right. So I suppose when you can, make with the shifting music.
Yep.
All right, so welcome to the topic of discussion. So this week we had a few choices to talk about, and
Mm-hmm.
indeed, um, with even more stuff added with Gamescom. Like we haven't even reacted to the latest Sonic Frontiers trailer, which is the word hodgepodge comes to mind with that thing.
It's a
Like,
hodgepodge, but I wish they would have put that out back in June.
like
Instead of the useless one that they did.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm like, it didn't get off on the best foot, but and also the full lineup of the Sega Genesis Mini 2 has been revealed in both its North American and Japanese incarnations. With
And
Europe's also there, but it's the same library as the North American,
mm-hmm.
and we'll probably get into that next week because what I want to talk about this week is in the Embracer Group, because they just had another quarterly financial statement, so that means they went on another buying spree.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what they do. Like,
Basically, yeah.
It's in their name. They want to embrace everything.
Yes,
And never let go.
Well, it's also, the increasing emphasis here is on the everything, because there is stuff to talk about on the MSP show as well. Because, okay, so running through this, like the big news as far as video games go was they bought limited run games. Like, I'm assuming that the people who will be listening to this, and indeed our cast and crew here, are familiar with limited run games. We even had them on the program once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, granted, that was a long time ago. I think that was about when they were starting Switch releases. I've tried to get them on the show since then. There was one time that didn't work out due to scheduling conflicts. Scheduling conflicts comes up a lot when getting guests to the program, like constantly. Like, and then the last time I tried, the girl I was talking to quit the company in negotiations.
Well, that's not usually good.
Well, it's more an overall thing. It clearly wasn't because of us. Like, like not the first time this has happened, by the way. Like, not the first time that had happened with a guest to arrive on the program. I distinctly remember one guest getting fired a few days before they were supposed to appear on the program. Yeah. These are just the stories you accumulate when you're a booker of a program. Anyway, so yeah, limited run games. They've been acquired by this new 11th vertice, as they call them, Embracer Free Mode, which is kind of their aiming to be their junk drawer. Because, okay, just going through this, this new subsidiary acquired limited run games. They've acquired Singstrix, which is a peripheral maker, specifically of karaoke equipment. And I believe, we got Geotech. No, sorry. They're the peripheral manufacturer. The karaoke technology company is Singstrix. Like, yeah. Can't say I know a lot about these entities. And as far as game studios, this Free Mode subsidiary has acquired the company called Tetsujin and Bitwave Games. Two entities that nobody had really heard of, but are involved in some legacy stuff here. I don't know the free mode as far as games goes. They seem to be building towards retro collection stuff because you got limited run games. So Tetsujin is the successor company to Topolan, and if you Topolan, even if you don't know Topolan, if only because of one very famous meme that somehow hasn't gone away. I continually marvel at how much longevity All Your Base Are Belong to Us has. And, because that meme famously came from the shmup Zero Wing, specifically the European Genesis version, or Mega Drive, if you will. But it's like even when Nintendo was promoting the fact that Zero Wing was hitting on the Nintendo Switch Online, what did they show? The opening crawl. Because of course you're going to do that. This is just the legacy of Zero Wing. It's kind of like Final Fantasy IV and Spoony Bard on steroids. It's like because this is
otherwise it's just aside from the jank translation that became a total meme, it's just a fairly ordinary space shooter, isn't it?
Yes and no. The Genesis version, yes. The arcade version, I've heard, is a bit more special. I wouldn't know because I've never played the arcade version, but that's kind of connected to what's going on with this other company, Bitwave Games. They're the company that's being charged with actually bringing the Topolan shmup collection, if you will, to, of all platforms, Steam. And it looks like the arcade versions. It's not just Zero Wing. We've got I think Fire, all of the shmups, Fire Shark, Truxton's probably the other one you know of because of Classic Game Room, just constantly making that a bit, to the point of, quite frankly, exhaustion. In fact, the Japanese name of Truxton is Tetsujin, the name of the new company. And yeah, so Bitwave is bringing all these games in to the PC. Consoles haven't been announced for whatever reason, but I'm sure they'll be along at some point. I have been in negotiations with Bitwave to appear on the program. They haven't really responded, but it's also the week of Gamescom, so communications with a lot of
busy,
with European developers is kind of slow. It's why I hate conventions. You're not going to it. It's like the fucking email game crawl. Anyway, also Bitwave Games is working on a couple of porting endeavors for Sunsoft, who are still around. I'm not exactly sure how they keep surviving, but they do, because the Sunsoft that exists now is the Sunsoft that can trace its way back to all the way to 1971, apparently. They didn't get into video games until the late 70s, early 80s. But and they've kind of been in and out. Anyway, Bitwave is bringing a couple of their more notable hidden gems. Not Blaster Master. That's probably the game you know them for, because Blaster Master is not a fucking hidden gem. They keep putting out new Blaster Master.
It's a pretty well-known gem.
Yes, I'd say so. Considering it got a fucking modern trilogy, I'm talking about games like Gimmick, which is one of the bigger holy grails in the NES collector scene. Specifically the Scandinavian version of the game, because for whatever reason this game got a Japanese release, but it got a PAL release in certain territories, that of the Nordic variety, and was connected to Denmark. Scandinavia is actually a specific thing to Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Finland and Iceland do not count to Scandinavia; they are Nordic countries. It's confusing. But it's and also the game we know as Euphoria, or Euphoria, like with a 4. Once again, that's a game that saw a European release, but didn't get released here until the Virtual Console, the Wii Virtual Console back in the day. So they're bringing those to modern systems, and we actually covered their first game, which was an original game called Wonderlings or Wonderling. The final thing that this particular subsidiary acquired was the rights to the Lords of the Ring and the Hobbit asterisks.
And this is pretty wide rights to those, I think.
Yes, but not the full rights. We'll break this down on the MSP show, because there's a bit of wrangling here, but it is a very significant purchase. Like I said, I'll get into it because there's basically 2 sets of rights for the Lord of the Rings properties. Or I guess if you break it down even further, kind of 3. But once again, this is what happens when you sell some of your rights, but not others. So over to the all-engulfing vacuum of Embracer, Saber. They acquired a couple of developers themselves. They have bought the indie dev Tuxedo Labs. They are famous for their indie hit Teardown, which is sold over 1 million copies. And it's I'm not too familiar with this particular title, I do admit. And certainly the more notable of the 2 Saber acquisitions, Tripwire Interactive, because they're maybe not a big name in the, say, first-person shooter scene, but they're certainly a name, because they're the ones who have created the Killing Floor series, which is quite popular. Mm-hmm. And more recently, they made the not Jaws game, Maneater, which was some premium Eurojank. So yeah, this is kind of why the whole everything is applying to Embracer. And I do find it amusing when Embracer makes purchases like this, because a lot of people can't figure them out. A lot of it has to do with them being Swedish. From what I've read up on Embracer, this is their company structure is actually very Swedish or Japanese, if you will. And though it's not quite, I believe the word is zaibatsu in Japanese. Yeah, and if you don't know what that is, that's something like Bandai Namco.
It translates fairly literally to conglomerate. It's a company that has business interests in a lot of different realms.
Yeah, and that's kind of where you're seeing here. But you can still connect the through line to media. It isn't like, oh, they own all of these video game stuff, but they also got theme parks, and they got a Italian restaurant. Seriously, Bandai Namco at least owned an Italian restaurant chain in Japan. You can see this with Konami. Konami is big into gambling. They're big into the health and spa business. Sega Sammy, they're big into real estate. Like I said, these are just the video game companies you don't know that have investments in all sorts of places. I guess your American equivalent would be Microsoft, or they're the closest thing I can think of to, they've got a lot of fingers in pies that aren't video games. And we definitely see this here with Embracer, because they have stated their ambition is to become a transmedia company, and connecting all of these seemingly disparate entities together, because there's a lot of planning in tandem because this is why they've got all these video game companies, but also why they've invested in movie companies, why they bought Dark Horse. Indeed, why it's believed a big reason why they bought the Lord of the Rings rights that they do is because it covers video games. Like, doesn't also cover that. And indeed, some of the stuff here really pushes them further into Zaibatsu territory. Also, the whole Swedish thing is because when you look at the Embracer group, you have a lot of redundancy. Like, you would never find an American company headquartered in America structured like this. If only because they would see all of these basically independent subsidiaries or autonomous subsidiaries as doing a whole lot of the same thing. It's a big reason why you have a lot of cuts during mergers. The big corporate mergers is not even, if you're not saving money or anything, it's because, I don't need two, let's say, executives in charge of scheduling. So one of them's got to go. That's that's the literal redundancy part of redundancies. Like, we are learning a lot today. Like, but anyway, so yeah, that is about all I have to say about Embracer here. It's pretty much guaranteed that the Lord of the Rings stuff on MSP will be a longer conversation. Like I said,
though we may also have to talk about the thing I was kind of referencing at the beginning of the at the intro thing too, which is the Universal situation.
I'm not familiar with Universal.
Sorry, the Warner Brothers Discovery. I was thinking Discovery, not Universal.
Yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery is probably going to be our centerpiece since it looks like the guest ain't coming there. Like, still having on a formal cancellation, but this is why I put that notice yesterday. It's like, he's having some scheduling problems. I'm like, he wants to work on the time, not the dates. Can't really do that.
Unfortunately, we can't flex the next show much earlier on, kind of what we're doing now.
Yeah, I told him that. I'm like, and there's 6 people, so it's not a thing I can do in a day. I don't know. This show just became a through line of my frustrations when it comes to booking guests. Weird, or maybe not so weird because I've been dealing with that this week. Like, at least with this set of shows, because that does bring me to the week ahead. So we got some interesting things happening this week. On Friday, August 26th, we will be having Dankman of Disco Tomb. That's not the company. That's more. They are an indie solo dev without an actual studio name, as far as I could see. But Disco Tomb is the name of the game they are working on, and since they are using an internet handle, I can't actually say what it is that their gender is, if any. So you just use the singular they. Anyway, so they are working on Disco Tomb, which is a sci-fi retro FPS / boomer shooter made just like in the good old days. In fact, I think this is why it caught my attention, because I won't lie, I enjoy these a lot, because old school FPSs are a genre I rather enjoy. In fact, during the break, I played through the entirety of Ion Fury. Anyway, so yeah. We'll be talking about this on Friday. I mean, the guest is confirmed. They're actually in the Discord. They're under the name I gave here, so that makes identification easy. And yeah, so we will be having a special Saturday broadcast. I believe I announced this on the Sunday reviews, but I'll reiterate here and probably on MSP, because we are going to be taking part in our first streamer festival. these are things that sometimes crop up, usually in conjunction with Steam. From what I've seen, this is a bit more than Steam games. Like, I saw the occasional mobile or itch.io title here, but so a guest invited me, or rather us, to the Indie Racers Festival happening from Friday, August 26th, 5 p.m. GMT, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time, to Monday, August 29th, 5 p.m. GMT. So Friday morning to Monday morning for our purposes. I have staked out. We will be broadcasting on Saturday at 5 p.m. or around then. And I today have sorted out the current lineup, which is I went through all the Steam games and found all the ones with public demos, because I have not gotten any codes for this yet. There's supposed to be demo codes for this as well, but I have found 11 games. So even if we don't get any codes, 11 games is plenty, I think. And I suppose we'll endeavor to do multiplayer where applicable. As far as if these games have multiplayer, it depends on the game. That's the message I got there. So I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to this because this is something new and different for the show. And could lead us to, finding more people to find us, which, is nice. And yes, we do an episode of MSP happening after this. Also on the Sunday reviews, let me see here. We will be having reviews of Timothy and the Tower of Mu, Tales of the Dragon Mountain, The Strix, Tales from the Dragon Mountain, The Strix, Tales from the Dragon Mountain 2, The Lair. Petty will be covering one of these. Alex will be covering the other. I think
it sounds like it might be a direct sequel situation, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you if I don't fucking get anything out of it.
Right. Also, there is a PC version of this on Big Fish, so Petty can play some of that if he so desires. And the Dark Heart of Belor, which is an impressions video because it's in early access, and yeah, it's the kind of game where I'm glad I do impressions videos and not reviews, because the game could use some polish. It's got solid fundamentals, but I've gotten stuck at a part where clearly this needs some polish. I'll get into that on Sunday. But until then, until about a half an hour from now, I shall wish you good gaming.